All right, let's talk about a part of the healthcare system that you probably don't think about much, but is absolutely essential. We're talking about how the most sensitive, most important medicines actually get from the lab to the patient safely. Today, we're looking at the guardians of this incredibly fragile supply chain.
So let's just start with this question right here. Think about it. You've got a life-saving vaccine, or maybe a critical plasma product. Its journey is packed with risks. What happens if that chain of trust breaks somewhere along the line? And look, this is not some theoretical problem. It's a real, high-stakes challenge that happens every single day. To really get a handle on the solution, you first have to appreciate the scale of the problem. So let's take a look at the unique dangers that are lurking inside the supply chain for our most advanced medicines. Now, we are not talking about your everyday bottle of aspirin here. We're talking about something called biopharmaceuticals. Think about complex vaccines, life-sustaining plasma products, specialized immunoglobulins. These things are super high value, they're often incredibly sensitive to temperature, and they're tightly regulated. They require a whole different level of care. And the threats, they're coming from all sides. You've got dangerous counterfeit drugs trying to sneak into the system. You have the constant risk of spoilage. If a sensitive medicine isn't kept at exactly the right temperature, it's useless. And then you have simple things like regulatory screw-ups or just plain unsecure handling. Any one of these can have devastating, even fatal consequences for a patient. So with stakes this high, you can see why a general one-size-fits-all delivery company just won't cut it. This whole situation created a huge opening for a totally new kind of company, a specialized distributor built from the ground up to tackle these exact problems. And that brings us to the company at the center of our story today, FFF Enterprises. Get this, they've been working on this problem since 1988. They built their entire business not on moving the most boxes, but on mastering the security of these critical medicines. They saw this vulnerability way before most others did and made it their mission to solve it. This phrase right here, this is their core promise. It's so central to who they are that they actually trademarked it. And guaranteed channel integrity isn't just some slick marketing slogan. It's a promise that the product a doctor or a hospital receives is 100% genuine, completely safe, hasn't been tampered with, and has been handled perfectly every single step of the way. It's all about trust. So how do they actually deliver on a promise that big? Well, it goes way beyond just being a delivery service. They're not just moving boxes. They are deeply integrated partners in the whole healthcare system. Their focus is really on two key areas. On one hand, you've got the main event, the specialty products themselves, the biologics, the vaccines. But, and this is just as important, they also supply all the extra stuff you need to actually use these drugs. Things like the specific tubing, syringes, and connectors. This way, they ensure the entire process, from start to finish, is seamless and secure. And this right here really shows you how deep that partnership goes. They actually help manufacturers launch brand new, complex drugs into the market. They give hospitals these sophisticated inventory management tools so they never run out of critical supplies. And they handle the nightmare logistics of recalls and returns, which, believe me, for these kinds of products is a massive regulatory and safety headache. Okay, so all of this deep specialization has given FFF a pretty powerful edge over the competition. Let's break down exactly what gives them such a strong position in this very specific field. The difference really comes down to their entire reason for being. A general distributor, they're playing a volume game. Their goal is to move as many different products as possible. FFF is playing an integrity game. Their entire system is built around security, deep regulatory knowledge, and mastering complex things like the cold chain for temperature-sensitive drugs. It's a classic case of depth versus breadth. And here is the proof in the pudding. They are an accredited drug distributor by the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy. Now, this is not some easy certificate to get. It is a huge third-party validation that says, yes, these guys are committed to the absolute highest standards of safety and legitimacy. So if you boil it all down, their success really rests on four main pillars. You've got their deep expertise in this one niche. You've got powerful tools like their Right Now inventory system that helps out their clients. They have incredibly strong relationships with the manufacturers and with group purchasing organizations, or GPOs. And it is all built on that foundational promise of a counterfeit-free distribution model. But, no business model is perfect. Having such an intense focus in one area often means you have to make trade-offs in others. It's really important we look at the whole picture here. So you have to ask yourself, right?
What are the potential downsides or the vulnerabilities that come from being so specialized? Where could a company like this start to feel the pressure?
And here are some of those realities. For one, operating in this space means you're under an incredibly high regulatory burden. One little mistake can be catastrophic. Their success is also directly tied to the contracts they have with big manufacturers. And while they're amazing at the specialty stuff, they might not be the cheapest option for more common items. It's the classic trade-off you make when you specialize.
Which brings us to this final thought. The future of medicine, it's all heading towards being even more complex, more personalized, more sensitive. The need for a secure, totally trustworthy supply chain is only going to get bigger. So the real question isn't just about this one company. It's about the model itself. As the stakes get higher and higher, who are we going to trust to be the guardians?